Hi, it's Stuart Klein, and today I'm going to be doing my first assignment for PIDP 3240. I'm going to be exploring the notion of death by PowerPoint. So I'm going to look at what it is and how it can affect learning. Just the term death by PowerPoint, it's very loaded. It's suggesting that something is ending or something is expiring. We've killed something. And that something just might be learning in my classroom. So I really wanted to dig deeper and have a look. The organization that I currently work for, we have an extensive library of PowerPoint presentations, some developed in-house and some provided by external regulators. And I'm regularly tasked with utilizing such media. Now, I've seen PowerPoint used well, and I've also seen it used very poorly, but I honestly had never put a lot of thought into what made it good, what didn't make it good, or why wasn't I interested in that class? Was it the delivery? Was it the PowerPoint itself, subject matter, or something else? So the very fact that death by PowerPoint has been given a name, it's got a definition. People have written books about it, done videos about it. It's been acknowledged in comedy. Shows it's not just a buzzword. It's not just a buzz phrase. It's a very real phenomenon that occurs daily in our classrooms around the world. It's been defined by Wiktionary as the boredom of a dull PowerPoint presentation, normally consisting of simple bulleted lists and conventional graphics. So my reason for choosing it here today. So through my research, I came across plenty of articles, videos, and sites that explain the do's and don'ts of what to do in a PowerPoint. And first, the don'ts. So what makes it death by PowerPoint? So when we put too much information on the screen, make the slides too busy, have stuff moving around, not using the proper font, or maybe exercising too many colors, we can lose the student's attention. But one of the biggest ones was reading off of the slide. Reading every word, putting every word we want to say up on the slide, you just lose people and your opportunity for learning is gone. Now the do's, what should we do then? If we know what we shouldn't do to avoid it, what can we do to make it better? So we want to use short phrases, be concise, utilize appropriate font size, so make sure people can read it. Don't busy up the slide too much, and have pictures that actually support the ideas that are being presented. Make it very relevant, make it come across. So I'm going to give you two examples. One, a bad example. I was in an aerial work platform course where I was a student. The presentation, the PowerPoint presentation that this instructor used, had all the information on it. It was written out, like lots of writing on the slides, pictures. But what he chose to do was he read each and every piece off the whole slide. And very quickly, the presenter or the instructor, he got lost in the process for me. As I saw that he was reading each individual line, I was starting to read ahead myself, and I wasn't listening to him. His voice was distracting me from my reading, and my reading was not at the same position at what he was instructing, and the class was a disaster for me as a learner. I didn't learn a lot. Now, a good experience I've had with PowerPoint, back in 2007, I was a mechanic for one of our local cities, and I was tasked with developing some training to support a green initiative that we had going on. I was to deliver this in City Hall in front of the directors and City Hall staff. So techie with vehicles and equipment, yes, because of a mechanical background. But techie with computers and making a PowerPoint, I was frightened. I had a panic attack. So I created something very simple. I used photos from our own fleet. I took photos of my children and included them, and some pictures around our local work environment. And then I utilized my experience, my knowledge, and as the presenter, just talked about why we should be green, what kind of things we could be doing, and the pictures directly supported that. So after I was pretty self-conscious about it, and afterwards, I had people come up to me and give me compliments, and the mayor, and I felt as though they were just being nice because this kid at the time had done a okay job. But what I didn't realize was, because things aligned, my pictures aligned with what I was talking about, and the PowerPoint wasn't the focus of the presentation, but it was supporting it. Looking back now after doing all my research, that's what actually made it good and believable to people. They could relate to it. They would emote with it. So, is PowerPoint overused these days? Absolutely. I think it's become a crutch for many instructors. I think they look at it as an opportunity to throw a bunch of information on the screen, hoping the students will take it and pick it off the screen and learn it. But I don't think that happens. Between my very first use of PowerPoint back in 2007 and today, I've certainly wandered off track and tried to make it more complex and sophisticated, thinking I was, enhancing learning. But I realize now, I definitely wasn't doing that. I was probably doing the opposite. The potential of PowerPoint to support learning is great. It's got huge potential there. If we can provoke thought and tie together previous learning and initiate emotion and instigate reflective thinking amongst our students, it has a huge role. But if we don't, it can be detracting in the other way. In saying that, I think PowerPoint must always be considered as a supporting cast and not the starring role of your presentation. From here on forward, I'm going to be very conscious of when I use PowerPoint. I want to make sure that when I do develop a PowerPoint, I'm going to be very mindful of what I put it in. The content needs to be concise, the design very clear, and I'm going to be using it as a visual aid, not as the presentation. It's not going to be the presenter. It won't be the presentation. I must remember that I'm the presenter and PowerPoint's there to support me. And if I'm well supported, I can then support my students in their learning journey. Focus of my sessions, I want to provoke those thoughts. I want to see what activities I can roll in, and PowerPoint can be there to help me, but it's not there to do it on its own. This exercise has been terrific. It's really given me a good chance to self-reflect of what I've been doing and learn better of how not to kill my learning opportunities in my classroom. So thank you.